You know what's better than a Mazda RX-7? A luxury Mazda RX-7. Right, Matt?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, between 1991 and 1997, Mazda made a luxury brand. And I think the best way I could compare it to is Genesis to Hyundai today. The only thing was, it was called fini. But to us Americans, we wanted to call it a fini. See what I mean? Google knows all.
I'm fini.
Mazda and fini.
So that was a f***ing lie.
Seriously, I think I looked up how to pronounce this like 5 times, and I probably still got it wrong.
You just blowing from Stupid Town?
Infini.
fini RX7 登場.
And at the same time, all the mods that this one in particular has so far, including these absolutely incredible infinity taillights. I guess you could say it's a Infini of mods. Am I right? So Mazda also had other brands such as AutoZam, which was considered their entry level. So you know that AZ1, that really cool K car that had the gull wing doors? That was Mazda's entry level. Then there was Mazda's normal brand, and then there was Unos, which you probably already know about. So there were so many different brands with Mazda at one point that it almost reminds me of Ford back in the day. At one point, they had Ford, Mercury, Edsel, then Lincoln. So it was just a convoluted mess. Actually, no, GM as well. GM had more. Yeah. Anyway, they're just going with the trends of the time by having multiple brands, but this RX-7 in particular, since it was only in Japan, is only so recently that you started seeing these more in the US because of the 25-year rule of, you can't import a car until it's 25 years old. And then the Japanese go, hey, these cars, these are all rust buckets, so we're gonna put them on a ship and then put them in a crate and then ship them all the way over to the US and repaint them and then give them to Americans who pay way too much money for them. Not all of them. Not everyone's a bad importer. I'm just saying, be really careful when you buy imported cars. I'm just gonna say it. Because a lot of the times, they're polished turds. Thankfully, this one was not one of them. The vehicle sold did not comply with the Japanese government exterior and engine displacement regulation, which classed all vehicles sold as
Infini.
as exclusive luxury products.
I think we would have all given up the Cosmo just to have the 3-rotor in this.
I think we all would have given up the Cosmo. I think so too. Matt, congrats on the new shop.
Appreciate it.
I'm sure you're stoked.
Yeah, I'm super blessed to have it. It's kind of a nightmare because
Right off the rip.
this is the first year, so it's got kind of different wiring colors in the harness and everything, and so you got to use a lot of Google Translate.
Oh yeah, everything you opened with manuals was in Japanese.
I have a whole box back there just full of stuff that I've had to Google Translate, including the installation of the headlights and all of that, so.
The headlights and the taillights alone were a lot.
Probably like $4,000, somewhere in there.
As you can see, it already has a really nice body line to it. It has the Spirit R kind of wing on it, stuff like that.
It's got the 99 and up bumper, I believe.
Right off rip, when you look at this RX-7 in particular, you notice kind of the subtle differences compared to the normal FD, but also the wing. This one has a double decker on it as well, which is pretty rad.
Yeah, the diffuser's pretty sick too. And then this is all RE. Everything is RE.
So the real stuff.
Yeah. And then of course you had to go with a Regus. So
yep, you have to.
Just beautiful.
I'm gonna make it clear to everybody this is a work in progress and it's almost there.
I mean, 4 days I have left on it, so.
No pressure.
No pressure.
As you can see, it's got Haltech in it, looking great. And then we have the PDM, which controls literally everything. And it simplifies everything from 90s wiring.
Yep.
So now, all we have to do is show off the tails, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if you've never seen them before, Infinity taillights, not just Infinity, Infinity taillights are really cool. They're very expensive and take a very long time to make. However, they do pay off. I think they're really neat, and they use mirrors to make it look like it's an endless abyss into the sunset. Shout out to my friend Brad. He has them on his Skyline, and they look incredible. But what was it like installing these?
Kind of a nightmare. So you have to go do programming to them and everything else, but At the end of the day, it's worth it. It's a few hours. And then the headlights were just absolutely a nightmare because you have to cut the buckets out. So you can't go back to flip-ups ever.
Oh, it's done.
It's a permanent decision. So think twice, but they're cool.
These are the incredible headlights by Stop Motion Lighting. They look incredible, but like Matt said, once you cut out those flip-ups, there's no going back. So to do all this, it looks incredible, but you cut out the buckets, you do all these crazy things, and then you get this, which is like, you know, you're driving a gaming PC all the way down the street. I mean, I'm kind of right. RGB for life, dude. It is cool. I'm not making fun of it. I just think it's really neat, but the fogs alone, these things are super dope. But what's really neat is that these are integrated and basically one affects the other. So when you program it, you can do all these different patterns. There's one called Firework where it just like hits off real quick and then just shimmers like a firework. It's pretty neat. Think twice if you ever want to have the classic OEM look of an RX-7.
I was like, you know, getting all of this literature and everything, I was like, all right, I can't even spend hours doing this. And then I went and looked up a YouTube video and they're like, oh, go ahead and plan on spending 8 hours cutting out the buckets and wiring everything. And I was like, wow, okay.
Okay, sounds like a fun time.
Without halos and all this stuff.
So another thing about this Infiniti RX-7 is that it's been converted to single turbo. So we're gonna take a quick look at the engine bay and everything that Matt's done. So this has been converted to a single turbo.
It is, I believe, a Greddy setup.
Yeah, down here.
TD06.
It's a big turbo, dude.
Pretty massive. You have to have twice the turbo size that you would to make the same power in like anything that's
a piston engine.
Driven. Yeah, we had to convert basically everything from the old coils to like IGN-1As. So our buddy Trey actually fabbed up this and printed it, and then we CNC'd it in his CNC machine. We had to make custom spark plug wires, so that was fun. And,
I forgot about that.
so usually these would go here, but Haltech supplies, you know, their setup with a fuse box. So the best place to put it is here, and the only other kits mounted them to the rail down there, which were not very accessible. So we were like, it would be pretty trick to put them underneath the intake. And so it seemed like a good idea at the time. And then you have so many fitment issues that you have to like modify the intake a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad.
But it is interesting though, because with the single turbo, with the manifold, everything's over here and very exposed.
It's very complicated over here from the factory. So we actually got rid of the factory filler neck setup, which is kind of cool. I mean, this goes to like PCV setup, and we kind of kept the PCV setup so that things could drain back down to here. Cool thing about these cars is this is like almost a filler neck and a catch can all in one. So it's got kind of like a baffled system in here. Anytime that you have like I guess oil and stuff that would go into the intake forcibly, this kind of like alleviates all of that. It's a whole lot. It's not like these hoses are gonna do a whole lot, but it helps.
Yeah, it's better than, you know, because there's always a lot of fluids going on.
If some oil gets in there, it doesn't matter because it's pre-mixed anyway. So we have it on flex fuel. We have a content analyzer here, and then 2300cc injectors for the secondaries, and I believe 1050s for primaries. This radium kit was pretty awesome to have. You have to get kind of creative feeding the bottom rail to the top rail, but we found a solution.
So my main memory of this car is that the intake got in the way of everything.
Yeah, it did. It did. We weren't going to use the onboard map sensor because he's probably going to make more boost than that. So we had to get creative, but I was able to keep the factory bracket here. But that just goes to show you like how much stuff it covers up. And so fitting these down here was definitely a task. But we have clearance now. We did a lot of like thinking and like revised what we were doing and set some different angles to things. We were gonna just use this plenum spacer, maybe even go thicker. But we were like, you know, we're gonna have to make that out of aluminum and double gaskets on everything. We like to make it pretty simple to work on. So like we'll just put them down there because it doesn't take long to take the intake off. It's literally like 6 bolts.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I would go into the shop and Matt would be like, oh my God, I have closed this hood like 10 times. I can't get it to close. Okay, now I need to move the intake somehow. Oh, I just got these new parts in. They don't fit with the intake. Like everything was with the intake.
Yeah.
Almost every single time.
We had to do a custom filler neck and all of that stuff. So you're gonna definitely have to have a funnel to get her filled, and checking the oil's not very easy either. I mean, it's doable, but
you're not making a good case for rotaries, dude. Like at all.
Anyways, so we also put an RX-7 AC compressor in here because street car, and so that actually took up a lot of room that it didn't have going on for itself when it came in.
All right, fun fact of the day. Matt's building this 300ZX. I just thought it'd be fun to talk about this real quick. It's got RB26 in it, and this is the same engine block as something I drove like 5 years ago.
She gets.
But yeah, 300ZX, like 86,000 miles, you said?
Yeah, 87,000 miles
87.
original, and like great shape, pristine body. Like absolutely fantastic car to start with. This is the classiest thing that I've ever worked on as far as proper. It's gonna have AC, all the things that a road car should have, and super functional, like OE plus.
Oh yeah, to make things even more confusing, this brand is not to be confused with fini RX-7s from the FC generation that had an infinity logo symbol. Yeah, so it's got all the good stuff for the ECU and everything, but at first glance, if this wasn't modified, the interior looks about the same. I mean, if it's a special edition and all that kind of stuff, we all know that special editions and limited production always increases the price of a car. But this might just be one of those times where you just go buy an RX-7. You're pretty solid.
Sounds like it was just politics or something anyways.
For all my Mazda enthusiasts out there, please put in the comment section below of like how the hierarchy of this car worked with all the other cars, because I'm kind of finding a lot of conflicting accounts about the actual history of the car. Maybe it's because lost in translation, maybe it's something along those lines, but it's just very strange how one source will say this, another source will say this. So he's done a lot of programming, but it's gonna go to the dyno very, very soon. If you're interested in seeing that, put it in the comment section below. But Matt, thanks for letting me hang out. Check out your fini RX-7 build for a customer. And thanks for the customer for being chill. Just let me, yeah, thanks Ronnie, appreciate you. And I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye.